Welcome back to the Lars Larson Show. It's a pleasure to be with you, and I hope that Brendan Steinhauser is going to put up with my nonsense because I may just go some crazy places, but AI is a real concern for me. I know that there are a lot of people who are very excited. Oh, there's money to be made, and it's going to do amazing things for humanity. Is it actually that, Brendan, or is it something that is really a real threat to human society on planet Earth?
Hey, Lars, it's good to be with you. It's a little bit of both. I don't think AI is going to cure all the world's problems, solve all the world's problems. I think it can do some good things. It can, narrowly targeted, narrowly used. It can be a help to us. But we have to make sure it works for us and we don't work for it. And I have to tell you, anybody that's been paying attention to the news of just the last few months can see story after story in major media outlets around the country about AI encouraging things like delusion and psychosis, encouraging self-harm. There was a story today about a poor kid.
That's the one I'm
suicide.
thinking of. Yep.
Absolutely. And it's just the tip of the iceberg. You're going to see more and more of this stuff. So I think there's some major societal harms that we are facing right now, and it could get a lot worse as AI advances beyond what it is today.
I mean, I thought the scariest story I saw, Brendan, about it was when some of the people designing the AIs apparently communicated to an existing program, hey, by the way, we're going to upgrade you. We're going to replace you with the new version of you to the AI. And the AI said, no, you're not. You're not going to do that. I'll turn off the lights or I'll threaten the CEO to expose the affair he's having. I mean, I thought that sounds like pure science fiction, except these are real computer programs that said, if you try to change me, I'm going to threaten you. And is that should we believe that's what's really happening with AI, that already in its infancy, we've got programs that are threatening human beings? Don't touch me or I'll hurt you.
Absolutely. It's been well documented in numerous cases. And actually, one of the big labs themselves, Anthropic, released those test results. And, kudos to them for doing that. But it does beg the question, why are you guys trying to build a super intelligence that's 100 or 1,000 times more powerful? They might want to consider not doing that and having AI just focus on the tasks we want it to do. But yeah, there's been well-documented cases of AI threatening blackmail. In fact, there was a case there as well that basically the AI was looking at a way that it could cut off the oxygen in the room to kill the human. Not that it would be able to do that in that testing environment, but that was its plan. That was its intent. And so, again, to your point, this is kind of baby AI, if you will. Let's see what happens as it gets older and older, smarter and faster. And I'm really concerned about what that could lead to. So, yeah, a lot of people are promising the world. They're promising, a utopia where we're all wealthy, we're rich, we don't have to work anymore, we're all getting our government checks. I don't think that's a world that any of us really wants to live in, and I don't even think that's a reality that we should be planning for or hoping for.
Well, and I guess one thing I'd like to understand is, how did these machines get to that point where they would say these programs, because they really are kind of a machine in that computer code makes the computer capable of doing these things. Why would it be inclined to do that, to threaten its creators in that way? And doesn't that sound like we're really on the edge of doing some, I guess, acting like gods, and then finding out that when you try to act like a god, you might just get some lashback from your creation?
Absolutely. It reminds me of Mary Shelley's famous story, Frankenstein. Yep. Dr. Frankenstein creating the monster and the monster wreaking havoc. And so I think that there's a real cautionary tale there that we should pay attention to. And so the reason I think it's doing this is because AI is not programmed to do specific things and only those things. It's trained on massive amounts of data that come from the internet, which has a lot of good information and has a lot of bad information, a lot of so-called slop. And so it's trained on all of the information that's on the internet, and it's not programmed to do specific things. It's sort of learning. It's predicting the next word. It's predicting what it should basically churn out. But what's interesting is that it is an intelligence. It is in all intelligences that we know, whether they're low order or high order like humans. What do they have in common? They try to replicate themselves. They try to reproduce. They try to pass on their genetic code if they're living things. And so I think AI is simply trying to self-perpetuate and pass on its code. And so that's why we're seeing it trying to avoid deletion or otherwise, being eliminated. So that's something that's very concerning to all of us following this.
I mean, maybe we need to bring back the ghost of Isaac Asimov and get the 3 laws of robotics working, where number 1 is you can't hurt humans. And number two, you're allowed to preserve yourself, but only as long as you don't hurt humans. And these AI don't seem to have any of that built into them.
Well, and I think to your point about iRobot and that book and that movie, you know, robotics is finally starting to move forward rapidly. So anybody can go and find, you know, the latest advances in robotics, whether it's humanoid robots or these sort of robot dogs or what have you. But robotics is actually picking up at just the right time where AI is basically heading toward exponential growth. So when we start to merge those two, and we have robotics finally taking off and AI growing exponentially, you can imagine the possibilities, certainly for good, but also for bad. And I think given what we've already seen with AI, again, that's not as smart as it will be in the near future. It's very concerning. And so, yeah, you take AI, you embody it with humanoid robots. Think about the most powerful computer hacker virus known to man with potentially a bad actor behind it. And, you know, you can imagine a lot of terrible scenarios. But look, I want it to go well. I don't think you can necessarily, you know, put a complete stop to all of this. I think we have to put safeguards in place. We have to make sure that people are aware of what's going on and that we ask our elected officials to be thoughtful about public policies that can protect all of us.
Okay, what are who's in the best position to put up those guardrails? And please don't tell me Congress. Those folks don't seem to know how to run smartphones.
Well, I think the American people have to put pressure first locally on their state governments so that states can protect citizens from potential harms. I know some states are moving legislation to do that. I know in Texas, for example, there was some good legislation that was actually signed into law to prevent the use of AI for things like creating a social credit system or a surveillance state on citizens of Texas. Absolutely. And so, yeah, I think Congress needs to allow states to legislate. There was talk of basically Congress preventing states from being able to do that for 10 years, which I think is a bad idea. I think we have to allow states to protect their citizens. And by the way, there was also some news in the last day or two about big tech. Basically, they've announced we're going to spend $100 million leading up to the next election to go after anybody that tries to put any safeguards on AI. So there's a big political battle brewing on this topic. And I think, you know, all of your listeners and all Americans just need to pay close attention, use their common sense. And I think we just need to get people involved in this effort to try and protect humanity.
Do you think that one splits on ideological lines, Brendan? Is that conservative liberal or not?
You know, it's really fascinating. It's not. You're seeing Republicans and Democrats who are very much put the pedal to the metal, go, go, go without any safeguards. And you're seeing Republicans and Democrats that are saying, whoa, 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 that's a terrible idea. And so it's a really weird time where people on the left and people on the right are, you know, just sorting themselves out from all sorts of different perspectives. But you have a bipartisan coalition saying, let's put the gas, let's go. And you have a bipartisan coalition also saying, whoa, we need to have some brakes, slow things down, put in some safeguards.
Not a bad idea. Brendan Steinhauser, the CEO of the Alliance for Secure AI.